Make a tutorial video on TradingView. I'm a little under the weather today, but I'm not terrible. I'm not running fever or nothing. So by my rules, if you're sick, you really shouldn't be trading. That's not really my rules. That's rules that I learned from my mentors. But so I try to stick to it as much as I can. If a perfect setup shows up, I'm still going to trade it. I'm gonna be honest. You got to make hay when the sun's shining. So anyway, so you come to TradingView.com, type it in. This is what you're gonna see if you're not logged in. You can click this little man thing here, and I like the dark color theme. Just makes your charts dark. When you're staring at a chart for 8 hours, 10, 12 hours a day, every little bit helps. It's just a little easier on the eyes. Not even a bad idea to, put in that, night mode or whatever to block the blue light or get you some blue light blocking glasses, I guess. They're saying that affects your REM sleep and everything now too, but I may need to get some of those. But so anyway, you're going to click the Get Started button and then click your Sign Up over here, and it's gonna ask you for email. Now you can check if you want to. You can try it for free, 30 days. You got different packages. I do the premium just because I like having the option to have 400 price alerts, even though I really don't need that many. But I mean, right now 100. I've got 250 alerts right now. I mean, I could probably go in and close half of them out, but so. If you want to just test it for free, you can click 0, and either sign in with an email or with Google, and that's going to get you started. They create your email and a password, and then that's probably going to take you back to this product page, and so you want to highlight the products and then click Super Charts to get to your chart. Now I've got it already set up, with all my, ideally, maybe not. So this is what mine looks like, but I get the dark mode on, and so there's my email. If everybody wants to spam me and email me, actually, I've got a indicator that if you want the algorithm code, you can email me, ask me for it. And I'll send it to you. I really don't want to post it, with the video. So anyway, you come over here, products, go to Super Chart, and select that. Ideally, it should save all your settings. If you have saved it, I believe. Let's see. That's an alert. I'll change the save. Yeah, you click this button right there, I believe, and that should save your chart setting. I got it on auto save, so if I change my settings, it should auto save it. You can rename it. You can make a copy, change the layout if you want. You can make it your own. I like using the high-low, open high-low bars is what they call them. So the way they work is where the bar comes in from the left, that's where the price action started. So get on a day chart, it'd make more. So let me turn some of this stuff off so it doesn't clean it up a little, make it a little more appeasing to the eye or whatever. So if you want to resize your chart, you just click this A down here. Just left click your mouse on the A. And then a lot of times you got to drag up and down, hold your left mouse and drag up and down to resize, and then you can move it around. Just drag and you can move it. Or you can scroll up with 2 fingers if you're on a MacBook or a mouse pad, and scroll down to widen out. You can drag it. You can click on it and drag it left and right. I mean, really super handy. I mean, their software is hands down the best in the industry for now that I've found, and it works really good with mobile devices too, which is essential for me because, I'm not always around the house. So you want to be able to keep an eye on your portfolio and, see what's going on, any time of day. But so, anyway, these open high-low bars, so where it comes in from the left, that's where the price action opened for the day. And then where it goes out to the right at the end of the day, like on this 5-bar, that's where it closed. So it opened higher on MicroStrategy yesterday. If you highlight it with your mouse, it tells you the date and everything down here and the time, sometimes if you're on different time frames. But on the lower, like a 4-hour, 1-hour chart, it'll tell you the exact time. It opened higher, but then it closed lower. So that's a sign of weakness on that stock. That indicates it doesn't have enough buying momentum to sustain the high price that it started with on the first of the day. There's a pretty good book on it. I think it's Steve Nissen wrote it. Something about candlesticks. It's a really good book. Let's see. Steve Nissen, Candlestick Charting. Let's see. That's it. Japanese Candlestick Charting Techniques by Steve Nissen. That's it right there. You can get it on eBay, get it on Amazon. This one tells you, different candlesticks to look for and what they mean and everything, Like this one right here is a prime example of a topping candle, where you have a really long tail coming out at the top. That indicates you had high price action, but it sold off during the day and it closed near the low of the day. So that's extreme weakness. And if you're anywhere near a 7, 8, 9 count on my TD sequential, that's a decent time to take profit if you want. If you're not long term, super long term. But and same thing on a weekly chart too. You can look at weeklies. So for the free package, you get 3 indicators for free. Okay, now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, technically 8. I don't really use this a whole lot, this order block finder. Sometimes, sometimes it's useful, sometimes not. I've noticed like on a 4-hour chart, it works decent. If you turn it on, so you click the little eyeball thing to turn it on or off. And so this is looking for the orders on the level 2 price action, and it's telling you where the buyers and sellers are. Now, if you hit this Heikin Ashi button, it works better. That's what I've discovered. So apparently you have a lot of sellers up here around this 489.92 on a 4-hour chart, and saying you have buyers up here at 600. That doesn't make sense, but technically I would think you'd want buyers down here. But maybe you do have some sellers right here, and it does give you a bearish order block, right here. I haven't messed with it enough to see if it's good, for live trading or not, but it might help you, fine tune your entry or exit a little bit if you use it. But the Heikin Ashi, I think, is handy on the candlestick setting. You click this little arrow, you can favorite the ones by star and it, clicking this star. And so I got the hollow candles, I've got the bars, I got a line chart, which I very seldom ever use a line chart. And then I use Heikin Ashi. And so if you don't have this TD sequential that puts the number count above your candles, you're going to look probably like this, on most candlesticks. So, for you trying to figure out where your 9 count is, it's kind of choppy. You got red, yellow, green. It's a mess. So to smooth that out, smooth the trend out, you click your Heikin Ashi candlestick. Well, now you've got 9 candlesticks in a row. You count them all: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. most time you're going to go anywhere from 9 to 13 candlesticks before you get a trend reversal. And you can see, you're down 9, and then you get your little sideways price action most time, and then it's either going to drop another leg down or it's going to reverse and take off. And so you watch your momentum indicators to tell whether or not it's a decent time to buy. So for momentum, nearly everybody uses this. It's called stochastic RSI. So you come over here, your indicator search bar, type in stochastic RSI. I've got it favorited already, but if you don't have it, just click it one time, left click on your mouse, and it should add it to your chart, as long as you don't already have 3 indicators set up, somewhere else on your chart. Now, if you have 3 set up, it won't populate. So what I think, I don't know, if I had to choose 3, somebody put a gun to my head, I don't know, it'd be hard to do, because I like having all my moving averages. So there's at least 3 of those. So I like having a 4. These are all simple moving average. SMA stands for simple moving average. And so I want that set up on a 9. And I like an 18 simple moving, and I like a 4 simple moving average. So there's 3 right there. So you're already out of your indicators if you use those 3. But now you could do, I found one that's a multiple moving average. I believe it gives you, I don't know, like 10. I think it's just called moving average. I believe that's it. Click that thing and see what it does. I'll probably populate it to your chart. I don't know where it put that thing, but yeah, probably put it right here, I'm guessing. Let's see, 18.4, right here. Okay, so you go to your settings wheel, go to your inputs. Now, that's not the one I'm thinking of. You got style, visibility. That's not the one I'm thinking of. Anyway, so simple moving averages, maybe. That's it. Let's try that. All right, so yeah, see, you got like a bunch of them now that just showed up. So, all right, you go on here, turn these off. Let's see. So see, you got a 20, a 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 400, 500, 600. Go to your settings wheel, and you literally just adjust these to, at least your favorite 3. I would at least have I'd have a 4, I'd have a 9, and I'd have a 18 for sure. If you don't want any other ones, there's a way you can just turn them off somehow. I don't know exactly. I haven't messed with this indicator. You might just, let's see, 2, 1, 2, 3. Probably just come in here and take out your moving average, I'm guessing, on all these. So here's a way you're kind of cheating a little bit. You're getting several moving averages, but it's only taking one of your indicators out of your 3 that you can use. So, all right, then you go to style. So color 1, I would do, for my 4, I like yellow. I mean, you can do whatever color you like. Color 2, let's see, I think I do green for my 9. And color 3, I do blue. It's like a light blue. All right, so here we go. You can toggle these off right here too. I toggle those off, and they won't show up, I don't think. Ideally, I believe that's what you need to do. So click OK. click your little arrow, and you should have 3 indicators. Yep, looks like we have 3 moving averages. Now this one here looks like it's going to change color on you. There's one of these that when you get a bullish setup, which is probably crossing above your 18 moving average, it changes color from orange to blue, I guess. And this one made here too. This one turns from green to red. So if you don't like that, you can turn that off. You can mess with that, play with it a little bit. It's not a bad tool. I mean, it at least gives you a little idea when you have a little more of a bullish setup on your chart. So it's not a bad idea to leave it like that. And then I don't know. As far as the Elder Impulse, I would definitely try to get this TD sequential, this number count. Like I said, if you'll email me, I'll send you the algorithm, the code, how to do it. Basically what you're doing, you're going down here to your Pine editor, left click that, and you're going to copy and paste everything in this column right here. I don't know anything about code, but and then once you get done, then you click save, and then you click add to chart is how you get it overlaid on your candlesticks. Save it on something you can remember the name of it. I just call it my JD TD script or something like that. So that way you'll know, maybe favorite it in your indicators. So that's how you'll add to get this number count. It's a hack version of the real TD sequential. So if you want the real thing, it costs, I don't know, at least, and if you get Larry Williams indicators and you get TD sequential on symbolic.com and you get the scan engine, it's right at around $200 a month. I think it's well worth the money. You can do countless watch lists, set up all kind of scans. That's how you're going to find what's moving and what's set up the best. Like you take soybeans right here. This is March soybeans. It's got a perfect 9 count coming down. That's 9 weeks down in a row pretty much. So I started looking for my buy signals on a day chart. Found it. Anywhere around this 9 count, usually pretty decent. You can fine tune it a little bit better. You can get down to a 4 hour, you can get down to a 1 hour. Look for your entry and exit. Ideally, if you can get a 4 hour off a 9 count too, especially a 9-13 together, that's a high likelihood of a bounce. Sure enough, it worked. You drop that down to a 60-minute, even more. And here you go. You got another 9 count right now. I mean, this doesn't update real-time price action on. That's the only thing I don't like about Symbolic is with commodities, you don't get real-time price action. So don't make that mistake if you're trading commodities. This is still January 5th data, and we're already on the 26th. So it doesn't work too good with commodities, but like MicroStrategy, it's starting to bounce a little today. On a 1 hour chart, you come off a 13 sideways. I'd look at a 240. That's a 4 hour. 240 minutes is a 4 hour chart. So you got your 9 over here, sideways price action, a little bit down. Now you're bouncing slightly. This was yesterday's price action again, so you're not getting real price action yet. Pre-market price action, it's 7:48 Central Standard Time here. So some of these trade pre-market, some of them don't. Looks like this one's trading right now. You can tell because you got your countdown clock over here running. So if you go to a 15-minute chart, you come up here, hit your 9, pull back. You know, and then I would definitely utilize my stochastic RSI. I believe I just set it on default settings. It's set on a 314 default settings. I've tried it on different settings to try to get a little advantage, and I don't know. I didn't really see much advantage on it. I also use a straight RSI. I put that on a 14, and then I use Williams percent R, and I put that on a 4. I think by default it'll be on a 14, and so I changed that to a 4 right here on the length. Click OK, and you can go to style, make it at whatever color your line you want. And I like that kind of cyan electric blue. Just pops really good on a dark chart. You know, we can read the numbers and everything real good. So like if you highlight this candlestick, if you look over here, it tells you what that numerical value is on this indicator. And so if it's down here below minus 80 on Williams, I'll zoom in, that's oversold. So on a 15-minute chart, which, you know, I wouldn't, let's go to like a 4-hour. I wouldn't, maybe a 1 to 4 hour is really about as low as you need to go. You can go, I'll go to a 15 sometimes to fine tune, maybe get a little better price or a little better exit. But so if it's down here in the basement, that's a pretty decent time to buy most of the time. The Larry Williams, the guy that made this indicator, he puts it on a 4-day. He uses it on a daily chart and puts it on a 4 bar, 4 count right here, and then saves it. And when you're down here in the basement, that's usually a really good time to buy. And most time, if it's way up here, you know, at a minus 10 or more, that's usually a decent time to sell. So if you're swing trading or whatever, you can kind of tell, you know, when and where to sell. Now, on a 4, it's going to swing. You're going to get quite a bit of, you know, price movement. If you don't like trading that often, you could leave it on a 14, or you could just trade with your RSI. I like the RSI it's got a moving average also with it. This is RSI SMA. So if you search that, RSI SMA, and I've got it starred somewhere here. Here it is. So this SORU is who created it. There's 62 people using it. Just left click that, star it as your favorite. It'll show up in your favorites. I've got a bunch of my favorites that I've, you know, tested. I've tested countless indicators. You know, really, once I got into Larry Williams stuff, that's really about all you need. But we don't have access to Larry Williams indicators yet on TradingView. Now, there's some people that tried to hack them. You know, whether they work, whether they don't, I don't know. You know, you can test it out yourself and see if it gives a buy or sell signal. For the most part, most of them don't work that good if it's a hack, you know, program. The only reason I like using this TD sequential is it just keeps me from having to count the candlesticks, and it simplifies where I don't have to, you know, do the math, and I just look at it and I go, well, that's on a 5-6 count. You know, it's getting close to a top. It's a 7. You know, sure enough, it pulled back. You know, ideally, you hope for an 8, 9, maybe even go on to a 13. But when you see a candlestick like that, if you're swing trading, short-term trading, or short-term investing, that's a decent time to take profit. When you see that candlestick like that, that's a really good time to take profit. Also, I've heard Larry Williams say when a candlestick closes at the very high of the day, like the 6 bar, let me zoom in on that. See, it opened right here, went all the way up, closed at the high of the day. Very next day, it went down. That happens a really high percentage of the time. Sometimes it'll even mark a top of a trend if it does that. But So keep that in mind. Just little tricks of the trade. On a breakout, like say if I'm putting a trend line on this thing, I'll select my ray. The reason I use the ray is, and I make sure my magnet's on, but the ray just extends it down where you don't have to keep continually dragging your line down. If you use a regular trend line, you got to continually drag it down. Make sure your strong magnet's on, and then that kind of magnet sticks it to the top of the candle automatically, so you don't have to fine tune it and try to get it exact. So ideally, on a trend line, if you're going to get a breakout and this thing's going to blow out up here, the best setup, you want it to be a down day the day before it breaks above that trend line. If you don't have that, a lot of times it'll head fake you. You'll get a blowout, it'll come up, and then the very next day it shoots right back down. So just keep that in mind too. That's another good trick of the trade to watch for, trend line breakouts. As far as Fibonacci goes, I use the heck out of this tool. I wish I'd have had it 10 years ago, 12 years ago. I wish somebody would have taught me how to use it. I don't know. Maybe they didn't know about it either. But so this Fibonacci retracement, it literally calculates for you where your price might bounce. So now if you get it over here, let me get this out of the way so it doesn't confuse you. But so you're going to come over here, click your little arrow. I start as a favorite. That way it shows up at the top usually. You can start at the low of the move on a weekly chart, daily chart. Click it one time, left mouse click it, drag it up, go to your highest high of your candle, click it again, left click it, and then I click over here in the space where there's nothing, and then that sets it. If you want to, you can lock it right here. That way it won't move around on you. If you accidentally grab it while you're trying to move your chart, sometimes you can move it. So if you lock it, it won't move around. You can grab it and it won't let you move it. But so by default, now yours isn't going to look like mine. I set all my trend lines to yellow just because they stand out good. You can extend the lines left or not. You can extend them to the right. I definitely like this 0.382, the 0.5, 0.618, 0.702, and a 0.786. And then I also add this 1.236, and I add this 1.618. And make sure all these little boxes are toggled. You could do a 236, 0.236, but that's, if you're doing daily, weekly, most time you're not going to get that. So unless it's just a super hot stock or crypto, I just use the one color. I use yellow. Background, you can turn this on or off. See, I like it off because with it on, it messes up. You can't see your candlesticks as good. You can't see your ticker symbol. So I just turn that off. Prices, I want to see prices. I want to see levels, values. I want labeled. I like it to the right. Some people do it on the value line on the left side. I like it to the right because that's where my price label is over here anyway. Font size, I just use a 12. If you need to, beef that up, you could turn it up, where it makes it easier to read it. Fib levels based on log scale, I leave that off. I've seen some guys use it, but I don't really think you need it for the most part. But so anyway, once you get that set, that's going to tell you most of the time your price is going to bounce around the 618 to the 786 zone. And it literally gives you the exact price to the decimal point over here where to expect this thing to start to bounce. And I've seen this work a high percentage of the time, especially if I started using my one bar on the first up close, say above your 4 moving average, 4 to 9 moving average, simple moving average. That'll be your first, decent green day right there. I started using that, and it seemed like it gets a little more accurate reading. That way, you're only calculating the retracement of the actual up move. So you're calculating the percentage that this could retrace and pull back and sell off of this up thrust move. So I've been testing that out for over a year, and that's just how I like to do it. A lot of people use the low point of the move, but sometimes you'll get manipulation by the market makers, and you'll get a huge, wick, especially with crypto. Especially small cryptos. I mean, you can go to like Maker, or you can go to, like you get a long tail over here like that. That's manipulation by a market maker, especially on real big volume days. If you see those, they're looking to stop people out on their stop losses and steal their money, more or less, is what they do. So you get them to the upside too. Really bad on crypto, but they do it on stocks too. But so the Fibonacci tool is really useful. I really highly recommend that. And if so that tells you where to buy it. Where a possible buy place is. But if you want to know where the price might go, say you already bought in, well, now you need a price target up here. You need to figure out, okay, where's the price going to go? You start looking for your horizontal support and resistance. You look for, I like to use this candlestick setting, the hollow, especially on a weekly basis. And then I select my horizontal line, and I try to get at the top of the candlestick without the wick, that line that comes out of the body of that candle. You want to select right there for your possible resistance, where it could bounce its head up against it and come right back down. So this is most likely coming down in this zone before it bounces long term. Now we're getting close to a daily bounce, but we've already actually set up a decent daily bounce. You got 3 or 4 days out of it, but most likely you're going to get 3 or 4 day bounce, and it's going to continue to the downside until it completes this weekly 9 count, at least 7, 8, 9, somewhere in there, most likely. But so I would definitely probably create a resistance line right there. That's going to be a problem zone because that's where it closed the week right there, on the previous price action. So. But say you want to get through all this. If you're holding long term and you want to try to guesstimate where it might go, you can do this trend base fib extension. And I believe to go up, you start on the bottom side, get on your lowest low point, left click, drag up to your highest high point there, left click again, then go to your lowest low, left click again, and then click another space over here to set it. And I would probably look for your 1.618 to 2.618. This is a really hot stock, so you could get a 3, you could get a 4, you could get a 5. I would look towards the analysts too. If it's a stock, you're going to have analysts over here on finviz.com. That are going to give you some kind of idea what this thing might be worth, especially if it gets really hot and it's, everybody's buying it. So they're saying right here on your analyst, $690 is what they think. This is BTIG research. Put it on a buy December 11th, 2023, $690. Well, so you're well below that right now. So probably your trend line's coming up here. That's probably a pretty safe bet. Eventually it's going to come back up and retest, the 700 zone. So you look on your, I messed it up. See, I should have locked it. That's close enough right there. You lock that thing, then it won't move. So you come over here and look for some, anywhere around your 600-700 zone. Your 650 would be easy money, most likely. 649, 650, that would be pretty easy. Now, you could going up to 700, long term. So you can kind of keep that in mind. It's just a really useful tool to try to guesstimate where price could go. You could also do a measured move, what they call a measured move. So say this thing comes down here to your price. I could draw it out, I guess. Say it comes down here and it goes back up. Well, you want to know how high can it go. So you get your price range tool over here. Start at the high, left click it, drag it down. This will, ideally this will be where it bounced off of. This is future. I'm just pretending this is what it did for an example. And then once you click it and set it on your price tool, then you can drag this up back to your high point. And that's what they call a measured move. So the measured move down, ideally, if you close above this high point right here, you should get this target right here, 1748.57. Ideally. Now that's a weekly time frame. So that could take a year or 2 years to get it. But so daily, that's going to work a lot better on a day chart for swing trading. But you can use it long term. But for the most part, you'd probably want to be using that on a day chart. To get a measured move off of it. So, like you're right here, you can measure from here to here. If it bounces right here, you want to see your price action. If you bought in right here and you see price action heading up here towards this high, let me zoom in so you can see this. So you'd want to set you a horizontal line right there, mark your high, and if you want to, you can label it. You come over here to your settings, go to text, maybe previous high. I like to set alarms on those. This is a really easy trade, in my opinion. When the price action breaks above this previous high point, most of the time the very next day or the very next candle, it's going to retest that zone. So it's going to come back to this price zone and retest it. That might be within 2 or 3 pennies, so you might want to round up. 727, 777. I might just round up to 727.80, and then that way you had a higher likelihood of getting your bid filled if you're trying to bid and trying to get a little discount on it. So I'll set alerts on these. You double click on that line right there. Or right click it, double click it on the pad. You click add horizontal alert, crossing up once per bar. And then I'll put in, if I'm looking at a daily, this is going to be an alert on a daily. I'll put in maybe bid, break out level. There we go. And, when you click create, you're going to get your little alarm thing. That way you've got an alarm. Now, you need to go to your settings. I forget exactly where you put your phone number. I think when you create your account, it'll ask you for your phone number, and it'll ask you if it's okay to send you text messages. So once you give it permission to do your text messages, it'll send you a text message every time one of these alerts go off. That's a pain in the butt if you're trying to sleep, so you're going to have to turn your phone off or put it on vibrate or whatever. But you can come over here and toggle them off. If you want to, you can click this line right here, I think. You can click stop all, and it'll turn them all off at night if you want to, and then you can turn them back on in the morning where you can get some sleep. But for crypto, it's 24/7. It never sleeps, so I just leave them on all the time, and that way, most time my phone's on vibrate too. Though it drives my wife nuts because she can't get a hold of me during the day because I got my phone on vibrate. But if I don't, the thing's going off 24/7 pretty much. Especially when I had 400 alerts back in the bull market. It was just constant, nonstop. But those are some tools, pretty handy to use. I like using this measure tool just to see, what kind of time frame. So if you want to go, say you want to try to figure out when MicroStrategy is going to bounce, you can go from low. Let's see. There you go, high. So if you want to figure out where the low is going to be, you got to start on the high point. Okay, so you click right here, and then you go to your next high point, click right there. It's 25 bars. That's 25 weeks. So you're on a weekly chart. So that's 25 weeks from high point to high point. Okay, so then you're going to go to your previous low point right here. Click your measure, your ruler tool again. Click your lowest low point right there, that 3 bar. Drag over 25 bars. Let me drag a little further, right there. And you look at your calendar down here. You can set. You can click it, left click it once, it'll set it. That's March 25th. Around the week of March 25th, you've got a really high probability of this downtrend completing and starting back up. Now, you could miss it by 1 to 2. Maybe I've seen it even be off 4 weeks. But at least it gives you some kind of time frame to guesstimate where this thing could bounce. And then what I like to do, I'll come over here and I'll set a vertical reminder. I'll put it right here on the edge of this measure tool and just left click it. And that puts your line right there that tells me what time frame we could possibly see a long-term trend reversal. To me, that makes pretty good sense. That's about where Bitcoin's at on MicroStrategy. Also, he's heavily invested. That's Michael Saylor's company, and they're heavily invested in Bitcoin. So I'm watching this like a hawk. You could swing trade it. You could day trade it. You could short-term invest it. It's on a 9-day, on a day chart. It's already hit your 9, went sideways. Could go sideways another 2 or 3 days, I'm guessing. And then you may get some kind of little small rally. You got a little small rally off your 9 here. Technically just 1 day. Maybe, you could have got a piece of that. But really, you only got 1 day. And I've noticed if you don't have a weekly chart saying that it's down at least 7, 8, 9 candlesticks on a weekly chart, that'd be weeks down. Most time your day setups don't work very good. You'll get a 1 or 2 day, maybe 1 to 4 candle bounce, and it goes right back down. So ideally, you want to look for that on a weekly chart first. I'll teach you a little bit more in the course, how to scan for this, how to look for it. Like I say, I've discovered a pretty solid indicator to figure out how to scan for this. TradingView has a scan engine, but I've tried 900 different ways to try to figure out how to look for this. You could look for momentum. You could search stochastic, way down below 20 on a weekly chart. Ideally, you could find stuff that's been beaten up pretty good that way. But as far as time saving, I finally figured out how to do it on Symbolic.com. Now you got to pay for that service, but to me, it saves me so much time and effort, and I just think it's worth it to, save the time if nothing else. And then I have, setups that work better and a higher success rate of my trades, and then I'm not having to worry about, if I bought in at a bad price or not on pretty much, so that's the most of TradingView. The big thing is the alerts that I like in the watch list. You can come over here, set up your watch list, create a new watch list, and then once you create it, you name it, and then you click your plus button, and you can add, search your symbol right here if you want to do AMC, whatever it is, and click this plus button over here. That adds it to your watch list. Just curious what AMC is doing. Weekly, it's set up pretty good on a weekly. Could go down one more week or sideways one more week. The daily, you've already got your day bounce. It was right here on January 18th. You got technically 2.5 days out of it. It's like 7-8% bounce, but so I don't know. It's beat up pretty bad. So they may have really bad earnings coming up or something. So might want to leave it alone. I don't know. It's not acting the way I thought it was going to do. I thought it would bounce pretty good after usually after you get your 9 count, 9 or 10. Usually your next candle should be a nice bounce, and we didn't get that. So that tells me there's more weakness. Now your momentum and everything's at the bottom, so maybe they're just stalling out, holding out for the bounce later. But I'll keep an eye on it. But I think there's better stuff to trade, like Starbucks, OHI set up pretty decent. I go to my weekly chart, I look at Starbucks, it's on a 9. OHI, it's on an 8. So I think maybe one more week of down on OHI. Pays a good dividend if nothing else. You're getting a 9% dividend if you hold it for 12 months. So anyway, we'll end this video. That's getting pretty long on this one, and we'll catch y'all next time.